Okay, so when they say we took care of it, oh, okay. And then you ask what the basic questions. So like, so how long ago did you take care of it? And the reason why you ask that is like if they took care of it last week, then you know you can be real competitive. But if they took care of, well, we got our policy, 5 years ago. It's gonna be harder because they're 5 years older now, right? But maybe you still can show them something. But if it's recent, even within the last year, I say, oh, okay, great. And then so I want to know. And so the basic approach is uh so that's now I got to get mentally into it. Take care of it already. Oh, that's the reason why I'm calling. Um, When most people fill out these online forms for final expense insurance, they're typically looking for the best product at the best price. Now, is that what you were looking for, or were you looking for something completely different? And so you give them that either or choice. And typically they're going to say, well, I was looking for best product, best price. Okay, perfect. Well, that's the purpose of my call. We represent 55 grade A insurance carriers, and it'll take only about 15, 20 minutes. I'll ask you some questions. And then, if I can show you a better product that's better, cheaper, more insurance, that's better than what you have, then you win. But if I can't, out of 55 carriers, then you still win because you know that you finally do have the best product, best price. Does that make sense, Mary? Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, great. And then go right into it. So that's really, and you can handle other objections the same way. It's like, I'm not interested. So the I'm not interested is very similar. Oh, well, that's the reason why I'm calling. Um, Let me ask you a question. When most people fill out this online form, they're worried about their family having to come up with the money to bury them, either put on a credit card or pass the hat around to family members to pay for the funeral or cremation. That's what most people do. Now, when you fill this out, is that what you were looking for? Or are you looking for something completely different? So what you're trying to do is get them to answer that question. If they say,
That's good.
well, yeah, that's what I was looking for. So what you do is you refresh the reason, why they even, because when you think about it, they filled it out online. So why would anyone put all their personal information online unless they were serious? They say they're not interested anymore. So that's why I try to refresh their memory of why they filled out. And if they say, well, yeah, that's what I was looking for. And then you're waiting for the but, right? But they don't say a but, then it's clear the way to book that point. It's like, well, look, we represent 55 different carriers. I can meet with you later on today at around between 6 and 7 p.m. I can give you a call, or tomorrow morning between 8 and 9 a.m., which time is better for you, and just book the appointment. Now, if they say, well, I'm not interested. Okay. And if they're still on the phone, then you're free to ask them more questions. Like, well, let me ask you a basic question. Who's the loved one when you died that has to pick up the pieces and take care of all the stuff? Because everything happens with their loved one. Who do they love? Right. And so that basic question brings out who is it they care about? Well, yeah, my son John's going to have to take care of everything. It's like, oh, okay. So tell me about John. Does he live in the same city? How old is he? What I want them to do is describe this loved one for me. Do you have grandchildren with them? So I want them to think about the emotional tie they have with their loved one. So that's why I want to ask questions about them. So John is going to be the one. So let me summarize here. John is going to be the one that's going to have to come up with the money to either cremate you or bury you, the full funeral and everything. So he's the one that's going to have to do everything, right? Yeah, John would take care of everything. Okay. So let me ask you a question. Do you want to leave John a check to cover these final expenses, even a portion of it? Or do you want to leave him a bill to have to pay for all your final expenses? So it's the classic check or bill. Do you want to leave him a check or do you want to leave him a bill? No, I want to leave him something. Okay. Well, this isn't a very complicated process. I'm just going to ask you a number of health questions. I'm going to determine what of our 55 carriers I'm going to find the best product for you. And then I'm going to give you 3 options. And all we're going to do is see if you qualify. It's not a really big deal. Only take, 15, 20 minutes to ask you the questions. And then we fill out the online application. We'll get this done quick, and then we'll find out within the next week whether or not they approve you. How's that sound to you? So that's another way. So that's handling the not interested. Uh so that is really using that. I call it the optometrist way of answering objections. When most people fill this form out, they are looking for the best product, best price. Or, when most people fill this form out, they're worried. So I use an emotional word. They're worried about their family having to come up with the money to pay for their cremation or funeral. And or is that what you were looking for, or were you looking for something completely different? Right. So you kind of use the same approach on both those ways of answering objections. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that pretty much answered what I had the
Yeah.
especially the rebuttals I gotten. So
Yeah.
okay,
Now the
all
tie
right,
downs, like I sent you a couple of videos on my tie down videos. I mean,
I
it's
did watch
just
those. That was good.
the one I like is the one where the sick and tired of getting no showed one where. So let me ask you just a basic question. Are you good at keeping your appointments? Have you ever been no-showed by a friend? You show up at a restaurant or whatever, they didn't show up, or you go to a doctor's office and you're sitting there for 45 minutes until they're ready for you. How do you feel when that happens? You are just totally amping the game up, man.
hmm
So those are things that, like study those tie down videos and you'll get better. Now, if you're doing in-home appointments, you want to make sure you book that appointment within 24, 48 hours. If you're doing telesale appointments, man, you got to do it same day or the next morning. You start putting it out there 24 hours, 48 hours, it's definitely going to be a no-show. And so the other key when you're doing telesales is double book your dadgum appointments, man. Like you already know, how many no-shows you got, right?
hmm
So you might as well double book. And if you're late to one, that's okay. You love the one you're with. So you found someone on the phone that you take care of them, however long that takes. And then the other one that you missed, call them after you're done and pretend nothing happened. They pick up the phone. Hey, this is Deontay. I said I'd give you a call. So let's go ahead and just get into it. Don't even acknowledge that you're late. Some people they would have no-showed you maybe if you called at the right time, but an hour and a half later you call them up and pretend nothing has happened, then you're on, right? So that's kind of how I
Now, if
mean,
they happen to mention it, like, oh, you were supposed to call me at so and so time,
yeah,
what
I
would you
had
say?
someone I took care of already. We got them taken care of, and now I'm here to take care of you, right?
Yeah,
So that's another way to
simple and direct.
yeah. And if they mention it, then mention it, but they don't ever mention it, then they were probably not going to be there when you showed up when you talked before, or they don't care, which is equally as good, right? But Alex, should be more polite to it's like, dude, yeah, there's polite, and then if they no showed you, that's not very polite either, is it? So I'd rather no show them than them no show me. Not to be mean, but my time is important, as important as their time is. And when you look at the numbers, your no show numbers, like, oh heck, man, go ahead and double
Mm.
book. See, I'd
Yeah.
rather know that all four didn't show up in 2 hours than 4 or 6, waiting for them to, calling and they're not there, you know. So I just want to compress everything, compress my time frames with appointment booking, compress my time frames with no shows. I'd rather know sooner than later so I can get on the phone and book other appointments. So if you're doing telesales, you know, that's what I would do.
Okay. And lastly, I got the one where one of the ladies, she was like, "Oh, my daughter was just clicking around and put my information in, and she kind of tried to rush me off the phone, but I feel like I could have did something or said something to
Yeah,
kind of."
okay. It's like, Well, okay, so let me ask you a basic question. Most people fill this form out. They're worried about their family having to come up with the money. Does this start to sound familiar? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
okay,
They're
okay.
worried about coming up with the money. Their family have to come up with the money to bury them, either a cremation or full-blown funeral, and they're gonna have to pass a hat. Then your body's sitting at the funeral home for the next month or two because they're trying to raise the money for you. That's why most people fill this form out. Now, let me ask you a basic question. Who's that person for you when you die? And I never say, when you pass away, when the good Lord takes you. No, I'm going to tell them when you die, who's the loved one that's going to have to take care of all that? Your cremation, your funeral, coming up with the money. Who's that person for you? And if you can get them to answer that question, then you got a foot in the door, so to speak, right? Because now you're talking about someone they care about. And then you want them more thinking about who they care about than spending time and having another bill or all those little logistical things, you know. So if you can kind of wedge your way in there with those questions, and if they answer those questions, you just keep it going. The art of answering objections is to keep the conversation going by asking them more questions. And the longer you can keep them on the phone, the higher opportunity you have to book an appointment. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, that definitely does. Okay. Wow. Well, okay. I'm ready to get back on the phone then.
All right, man, hit it, Deontay. You
Yeah.
can kill this thing. Your results are really good. And then, like I said, on those high intent leads, like be very specific with the name and phone number and then the disposition of it and get that feedback right away to Ginny. Not that we're not as concerned about TLPs, but TLPs where um they already had insurance, those are the ones I want to know about. TLPs that, oh, we already have insurance, or the guy talked us into receiving a call. I want to know about those because I want to give that feedback to our other vendor too. All right.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, man. You can
I
do this
appreciate it, man.
thing.
I learned some very useful information.
Good. Hey, I forgot if I asked you this. Are you going to be able to make that Louisville boot camp on March 8th?
March 8th. Let me see when March 8th is.
It's a Friday. I think it's from 9 to 2 or 9 to 3, 9 to 4, something like that.
I actually may be able to go to that one. Yeah.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, we have some other people
And-
from Nashville that are going to be able to make it out there. So maybe y'all can, carpool together or whatever. So we'll let y'all know. Okay.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right, dude. All right,
All right,
Deontay. You're the
man.
man,
Thank you
man.
so much.
Take care, buddy. See ya.
You too.
Bye.